discuss some of the findings in this analysis. First off, we can conclude that large language models can be a powerful tool in analyzing data. They are simple and efficient. You can get a lot of processing, a lot of analytical horsepower through simple prompts. They can be comprehensive. They can follow an analytical process. They can be a resource for statistical research. They can create code. They can do computational procedures, and they can document findings. They are powerful. They have a lot at their disposal, and they're very flexible in the sense that you can work them into a process in multiple ways. Maybe it makes sense to use the user interface because it's an additional resource tool for the human data analyst. Maybe it's more helpful in your use case to integrate them into some sort of analytical or logical pipeline. But what are some of the caveats and what are some of the cautions? First thing is, human expertise is needed to both guide the model and evaluate the output. It can address statistical questions, but that result needs to be fed into a human evaluated process as one of the inputs into that process to determine how to address the questions that are being posed and those questions for which we want some statistical analysis. It's unlikely that large language models are going to be able to construct the data sets that you want. They may be a resource in locating data. It's unlikely that they're going to be able to pull the data, and they're certainly even less likely to be able to aggregate or create complex data sets. Most likely, the data analysis team, the organization itself, will have to continue to invest in resources for generating data. And remember, data is the differentiating factor in most applications. And so it's going to continue to take work on the part of the analysis team to make sure that the data that you're using is relevant and is differentiated from perhaps what's publicly available. Large language models are not necessarily reproducible. You will get then different answers each time you ask the question. It's part of the generative AI process. And so if reproducibility is a factor, you'll need to take that into consideration in deploying a large language model. At times, the lack of reproducibility is more of a feature than a bug because it generates new ideas for the analytical team. At times, lack of reproducibility is a bug and something that needs to be guarded and contained in an application. Hallucination is a real problem with large language models. We didn't see it here in this particular case. It remains a large problem. And so validating the output of the large language model, particularly in automated workflows, is critical. And lastly, anytime you're using a large language model, particularly foundation models, privacy is a consideration. In this case, we fed a publicly available data set into OpenAI's ChatGPT. If we didn't have controls and agreements in place, we probably wouldn't want to feed proprietary data into that same AI tool. In conclusion, though, my recommendation is that analytical teams take a look at large language models to see how they can help improve the process and the analytical output of that team.